Welcome to the Do Zone, where real entrepreneurs share real strategies about getting things done. I'm your host, Josh Thomas. Tag me at JT Literally and show me what you do in the Do Zone. Every week, I'll pick the best post to feature across all my social networks. This podcast is brought to you by Factor One. If you're a six-figure entrepreneur who's looking to hit 7 this year, there are 3 key shifts you need to make right now in order for it to be possible. Go to IamFactor1.com now, and I'll show you exactly what those 3 key shifts are and how you can get them set up for your business in less than 6 minutes. Once again, that's IamFactor1.com. Today's guest is John Munsell. John is a seasoned marketing executive with over 25 years of experience, co-founder of Bazooka, and the pioneer of the Optics Framework. This proven process has transformed marketing teams and programs to drive rapid growth, and John has recently revolutionized it by incorporating artificial intelligence at every stage. John, welcome to the Do Zone. Tell us something you believe is the key to getting stuff done that most people wouldn't think of.
Thanks, Josh. Structure, in a word. So I am super ADD. So I have to have structure in order to keep myself from going off the rails and looking at every shiny object. So I have kind of rituals that I've established. Every morning I get up at, 4:35 in the morning. I work out. I take a cold shower. I come to the office. I get my coffee going. While it's going, I do a 30-minute meditation. And then I already have my work day kind of outlined, which is how I close the day by setting up what do I need to accomplish tomorrow so that I can look back and say, all right, I can go to sleep at night. If I don't have that set up for the next day, I'll stay up at night going, oh, don't forget to do this. Oh, don't forget to do that. And that really makes for a non-productive next day. So I don't know. That's how I have to roll.
It's kind of like clearing out the cache, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know that if there are 2 things that I can do at night that will keep me awake. And one is working too late on the computer, and then trying to shut it down and go to sleep. My brain won't slow down that fast. It takes about an hour and a half for my brain to thaw out and then go to sleep. So if I do that, I'm not going to get to sleep. And the other is if I have unfinished business that I haven't written down so that I can get it done the next day, I'll stay up all night because my brain will be going, trying to solve the problem and noting that I haven't, written it down.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the same way because it's almost like a safety mechanism, because if I don't keep it top of mind, then it's just going to fall to the back and I'm going to forget about it. It's like a filing cabinet, and the paper kind of falls behind the filing cabinet. We don't see it for like 6 years. Oh, here's this electric bill that I didn't pay, in 1996
Right.
or whatever. Yeah, no, and it's kind of weird how the brain works like that. And so what you like to do is you follow this routine. You know exactly what you're doing. You get up, you take your me time, and then we make sure that there's nothing left unhandled at the end of the day. And as long as it's written down to deal with the next day, that's considered handled.
Yeah, exactly. And I wish I could say I was perfect at it, but I'm constantly trying to improve. I do know that the first part of my ritual is always on time, but it's the evening part where the wrap up, where I start to write down the unfinished business. That's the part that I have to literally an alarm on my phone that says, don't forget to do this. I'm like, oh yeah, dang it. So I'll start jotting it down. And I've since gotten an accountability partner, and he's more AD than I am, which is good because I think he just likes to remind me to do stuff. So all day long, he's peppering me with crap. And I'm like, oh, geez, I got to get him off my back. So I better go ahead and do this.
Yeah, right. That makes a lot of sense. And so you spent 25 years as a marketing expert. Let's get geeky about some direct response marketing copy.
Yeah, sure.
Let's dive into that, because it's in my opinion, and I'm not alone in this, but the ability to write direct response marketing copy is one of the top skills that you can have as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, because it allows you to translate your message in a way that people are compelled to act on. And so could you talk to me a little bit about some of the fundamentals of that?
Yeah, so I would back up on that, and I would probably say the ability to write direct response copy is not as important as the ability to recognize good direct response copy, because a lot of CEOs, they don't have the time to write it, but they need to know what it looks like. And their marketing team needs to know what it looks like. They need to know what excellence looks like. Absent that, you're going to make mistakes. And I'll really date myself by going back to the early 1990s. There was a little company out there called Parsons Technology, and they would sell these $50 compressed little applications on a floppy disk, right?
Yeah.
$59, $49, and Parsons was making a killing on that. And I used to work for a bank at the time, and we had developed a program in what was called Lotus 123, which is a spreadsheet. And we developed a way to analyze commercial financial statements for our bank. So we would spread the financial statements. That would give us the ratios so we know how to lend money or whether to not lend money. So then a buddy of mine and I who created this, we both went to different banks in Florida. And then I called him up. I said, "Do you still have that?" And he's like, "Yeah." And so I took it and I modified it for our bank, the new bank that I was working for. And then I called him up. I said, "Hey, what do you think if we got together and we built this into a program and we sold it to banks? Because this dude at Parsons is making a killing selling these $59 applications. And in order for a bank to buy this software, it's going to cost them $2,000 or $3,000 from the competition that's out there. And ours is a whole lot more effective and efficient." So he's like, "Sure." So we start building this thing. And I thought, I need to figure out marketing. So I bought Jay Abraham's material. And at the time, it was called Your Marketing Genius at Work. So I bought this thing, and it was $500 back in 1992, which is about half of my monthly salary back then, right? So it was a hell of an investment for me. Yeah. So I just binge read it. And it taught me how to test pricing. It taught me how to write headline copy. It taught me how to write direct response copy. And so I just studied it. And then back then, there was no internet. There was no email. So you had to do direct mail. So I had to write these things. And what we did, Josh, this is the funny thing. We tested prices all over the country. So we would shoot 500 over here with this price, 500 over there with that price, 500 over another side for that price. We tested $59.95, $69.95, 99, 199, 249, 349, and 549. So we tested all those prices, and we were thinking, it's a done deal at $60. We're gonna make a fortune. 249 outsold the rest 5-1. Wow. So we not only 5x'd the number of units, but we 5x'd the price on top of that. So think about what that taught me, right? I was like, wow, that's key. But also I got to, it was one of those things, you'd send it out in the mail and you just got to wait and pray that the post office delivered it. And then you would wait for a check to show up in the mail. So that was really lengthy testing, right? But it was fun. We got it down to
let's stop there for a minute, because that's one of the things that it is so hard for us to even compute in this day and age of instant information. Like, I could send you a message on my phone right next to me, and you'll receive it instantly. I can send you a marketing message right now, and you can approve or decline and send me money, and I can get it in seconds. And this is like, you mail it out. It takes days to mail it. And it takes days for them to mail a check to you. And it's like, wow, this is really
well. They had to mail a check, right? They had to believe in you so much that they would send you a check. Okay. And it literally took us 3 weeks before we even know the post office had delivered it, right? So we would literally wait 3 weeks, and just and then all of a sudden a check would show up, and we're like, dude, we're rich, and then the next day 3 would show up, and then 2 would show up, and then 5 would show up, and you're like, this is a blast, right? So that was fun. And so that's when I got to, really learn direct response copy. And I know that, fast forward, in 1997, I built my first website and then started a tech company to do that. And we started off as a software company, gradually became a digital marketing company. But what I noticed, and I just had a conversation with another guy this morning about this, but 90% of what you see on the web right now is just wrong. 90% of the advertising you see is wrong. 90% of the copy you see is wrong. 90% of it, probably 95, is just wrong. Here's the problem with that. If all you see is what is wrong, you think that's right and you emulate that. Now, fast forward that to what's been going on over the last 2 years, especially in the last 6 months. What do you have? AI, right? So you can get ChatGPT to write copy. The only problem is ChatGPT has been trained on the 90% that's wrong, and it doesn't know it's wrong. And so you ask it to write something, and it writes what is wrong. It sounds interesting, it sounds logical, but it's plain wrong. So you have to know how to train it to write compelling, converting copy. And that's what I love to do.
And you brought up a great point, because ChatGPT is not a replacement for strong copywriter. It is a tool or an enhancement, much like a computer,
right,
or a typewriter, is better than just like writing it out by hand. It just helps you do it faster. It doesn't necessarily replace it.
Correct.
And I can definitely add credence to that, because I have a copywriter, and we're sending out emails. I send out about 3 to 5 emails a week at least. And I have a pretty decent following, pretty decent open rate. And I review these emails on a content meeting every Monday morning. And I got to one of them, and I was looking at it, and I was like, did you write this? And she said, no, ChatGPT wrote that. I'm like, I can tell.
Yeah,
like, yeah. I ran out of time, and I just put something up there to have something. I'm like, God, don't do that again.
Right,
It was not good.
No, look,
I
had about, so every Friday I host a roundtable discussion at 10:30 a.m. Central, and in it we discuss AI. And this Friday, actually, I'm going to show people how we create a scalable prompting system to make sure that ChatGPT yields the kind of stuff that we want. And on my desktop right here, I probably have 6 emails that have come in that I know were created by ChatGPT. I mean, you can just tell. It first starts off with, I hope this email finds you well. Okay, I know instantly ChatGPT wrote that. Right, because that's one of its starting phrases. There are other ones in there. It starts to sound like an infomercial. It'll say, but wait, there's more. And you go, oh, you've got to be kidding. Where did you think that was right?
It's kind of what I've seen, in the comparison that I've been able to make recently is one of the things, for those who aren't familiar, there's another program called Midjourney. And Midjourney is the ChatGPT of images, basically. And so you type in there, hey, create an image of this thing doing that thing, and it will render it for you. And it's a really high quality image. It's fascinating what they can do with words.
Yeah.
But when you look at, like, it has these weird quirks. Like sometimes there'll just be like imperfections in the image, and it still can't figure out how to make hands or fingers. And so they're always all jacked up. And so it's kind of got like this signature where it's like, Midjourney made that, right? And it has like a certain hue to it. ChatGPT is kind of the same thing. If you see it enough, you start to realize a robot wrote this. A human being didn't write this. And so we have to really, at least now, until Skynet opens up and, like, Judgment Day happens, we have to bridge the gap between what a robot writes and what a human can consume reasonably, because we still have relevance there. And that little gap creates all of the value for us, but it always has.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly right. And that's why I opened up with, you have to know what excellence looks like. Because if you don't necessarily need to know how to write it, but you need to know how to recognize it. And so ChatGPT and all these other tools like Claude does some really good direct response copy, by the way. If you ever played around with Claude, it's by Anthropic, but it's fast, and it's actually pretty decent copy, but it still needs you to recognize it and do something with it, right? And so I like all of this stuff because I at least know how to get it from 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds, right? But I also know how to take it across that finish line with it. Whereas if you don't know what you're doing and you just write up a generic prompt, you're going get that stuff that falls in the 90%. It's just not effective. So, when you talk about what makes people productive, tools like this make you insanely productive. So, like, for instance, I can create a really detailed plan, or we call it a profit accelerator blueprint for a client. It used to take us 3 weeks to do, doing all the research on the brand and all this other stuff. I can pull that down to 3 hours now using ChatGPT and a couple other tools, and it is amazing. And I couldn't do that just a month and a half ago, but that's how fast the technology is changing. So AI is the great liberator for people who need to get somewhere fast, right? But you have to know what excellence looks like so that you can use it the right way. Otherwise, you're going to just replace it, replace average with more average, faster average.
That's one of the most important points that I've ever heard on this podcast, and I've done over almost 150 episodes at this point. But you have to know what excellence looks like, and truer words have never been spoken, because it is so easy for you to just be generic and average. But if you understand what excellence is, you're always going to be ahead of the pack, because you're able to put that final touch on it. And so, John, tell us just really quickly, what is it that you're working on now, and how can people engage with you and learn more about it?
Sure, glad you asked. Because we have developed what we call the Optics Framework, which is a framework for helping marketing teams scale faster and organize themselves. And you can read about it at bazooka.com, bizzuka.com. But what we have done is we have started to Optics is an acronym for the 6 phases of it's like a circular phase of how you accelerate at marketing. But we've integrated AI into every aspect of that. So that's what we're working on. And originally I was like, you know what, I should create training to teach people how to use AI tools inside of it alongside of the optics training. And then I realized, after creating a program that would help people build lead magnets and all the funnel content behind it, I realized, boy, 4 weeks after releasing it, it's out of date because the technology has changed. And right. So I thought, you know what, instead of me constantly trying to build a course, I'm just going to give it away for free. And so that's what we're working on now. All of these tools that we've been building that are amazing, that help you build amazing copy, we're going to be giving them away. So we're going to be putting them on YouTube. We're going to be, like this Friday in our roundtable, I'm going to be showing people how to create a scalable prompting system. So that's kind of it. I just figured, you know what, I'm going to give it away. And if people want to hire us to do something else, happy to do that. But it doesn't pay us to try to sit on this stuff, turn it into a course, to have it be outdated a week later. I'd rather get it into people's hands. I really think the small business owners and medium business owners need to hurry up and be competitive, because this is rapidly becoming a massive corporation game and the little guys are getting crunched. So I think they need the tools to succeed. So that's kind of my passion. That's what I'm up to.
I love that. And so where can we go right now to learn more about that and get on your discussion, learn about your course?
Yeah. So if you go to bazooka.com, bizzuka.com, you can go over, I think it's on the right-hand side, you'll see a link to the roundtable. So if you want to join the roundtable, we originally were going to do 10 of these and stop. This Friday is the 10th one, but everybody said, can you keep doing it? And so we're going to add another 10 and another 10. And that's when we're like, you know what, we're just going to give this away and we're going to get people successful.
Love that. Bazooka.com, bizzuka.
Correct.
Awesome.
Not the bubble gum, not the weapon. We'd have been a whole lot richer if we were, but.
Excellent. John Munsell from bazooka.com. For those of you who are looking to learn more about AI and how it can impact your marketing, go to bazooka.com, which is bizzuka, and join the Friday roundtable discussion right there on the website. For those of you who are tuning in on your morning commute or during your workout, or you're somewhere out in the field, be sure to snap a selfie, tag me at JT Literally. Tell me what you do in the do zone. Also, if you're ready to break the 7-figure barrier with your business, but you know what got you here ain't going to get you there, we can help. Go to iamfactor1.com now, and let's see how much impact we can make in less than 6 minutes. Know this, you are Factor One for your own success. Now let's get to work.